Hi, this is Brian. I'm the Customer Service Director at Juicer, and I'm going to give you a 10-minute crash course of Juicer's Enterprise Plan, just to address some of the common questions people have up front and describe how to interact with the Enterprise dashboard and manage your various feeds. Now, the Enterprise account is designed for larger organizations who need to build new feeds on demand, whether it's for a client or for a different part of your organization. With the Enterprise account, you can build an unlimited number of feeds whenever you need to. The cost will scale automatically with your usage, so there's no limit there. And there's no limit to the number of administrators and users that you can add to your plan, and that does not impact cost at all. So what we're looking at right here is the main dashboard for an example Enterprise account. From here, you will always be able to scroll through the various feeds that you've created. Now, a feed in our terminology is the embeddable wall of social posts that you put on your website to display the social content. And a source is a social account or a hashtag that you insert into that feed, just so you understand that going forward. So from here, I have one example feed that we've created in this account. I can access the dashboard for that feed by clicking the name of the feed or by clicking the view feed icon here. That will take me directly to the dashboard for that individual feed. You can see how the feed will appear on the web page where you've embedded it. You can make changes to the sources that appear in the feed. You can change how the feed looks by changing the feed style here. There's many different options. I will not go into detail about how to manage an individual feed right now, just because there will be other video resources that you can check out for that. For now, I will go back to the main Enterprise dashboard. And you can see we're back on that home base now where you can access any of your various feeds. Now, if I click the Add New Feed button, I can create a brand new feed, whether it's for a client who's joined my agency or a different part of my organization. I'll just click Add New Feed here, and it will prompt you to add the first source for that new feed. In this case, I'll just add an example Twitter hashtag. I'll add the hashtag conference, and this is going to pull in a batch of posts that contain that hashtag on Twitter from various users. So now I can moderate the post for this feed, make changes to how it's displayed, various things like that. If I go back to the main Enterprise dashboard, I will see that that new feed now appears here. I can click the Edit This Feed button if I want to change the name. In this case, I'll just change it to hashtag conference example. This is also the area where you can change the update frequency for your feed, which is how quickly it will pull in new posts from your sources. I will cover that in more detail in just a minute. So at any point, you can scroll or search through the various feeds that you've created. You may want to develop a naming system for your feeds if you plan to create many of them. You can use the search bar here to search based on words that appear in the title or by the sources in the feed or by user. So in this case, if I type in the word hashtag, for example, that's just going to pull up that specific feed there. A common question is, can I add members of my staff to my account or my client so they can access only their own feeds? And the answer is yes. Just click the Manage Users panel up here on the left, and you can add new admins to your account. Now, an admin is different from a user. An admin will be able to access all areas of your Enterprise account. They'll be able to see how much you are paying each month, and they can make more changes to the feeds than other users can. They can change the sources within the feed, and they can change the styles of the feed, which you may not want your clients to do. So the admins have the most power. Simply click Add New Admin, and you can send an email invitation from here to that person, and then they will receive a prompt to come create login information and then join your Enterprise account as an admin. If you'd like to add a user to just an individual feed, you can go back to this main panel here and click Add User, and this will give you a similar field. Just enter in the email address of that user. Typically in this case, it would be a client. And they will be able to log in and only manage the feeds that you assign them. They will not be able to access this main Enterprise dashboard. They will only be able to access the feed dashboards that look like this and moderate the posts without changing the sources or the feed settings. Ultimately, the number of sources will impact cost, so you may not want your clients to do that. There is no limit to the number of admins and users you can add. That will not impact cost in any way. The third panel here will allow you to change the name of your Enterprise account just for your own organizational purposes. If you are using our white label feature, which I'll cover in just a moment, you can add your domain here and a link to a logo for your company so that your users will see that branding instead of Juicers, which I'll explain again in just a moment. If you plan to create a custom solution using Juicer's API or build Juicer into an app or something similar like that, you can access our API documentation. We have a REST API, and you will receive an authentication token when you do this, when you upgrade to Enterprise, and you'll be able to access that from this page. So this will give you the flexibility to have developers create a custom solution for you if you wish to do that. If you would like to add clients to your account as users, as I mentioned before, but you do not want them to see Juicer's branding, but only your own, you can set up a white label solution here if you click this last panel. Simply create a subdomain within your website and enter that here, and then click the confirm domain. We will do one more step on our end, and then going forward, your users will log in through a portal on your own website, so they will not do it through Juicer. And any email invitations that you send to your clients from there will come from your own domain and not from Juicer's. So you will hide Juicer's branding entirely. To cover how pricing works with Juicer, each individual feed in your account will have a specific cost, which is based on its update frequency and the number of sources that are in the feed. The faster the update frequency, that's how fast the feed will pull in new posts, and the more sources you have, the more expensive the feed will be. If you go to juicer.io/enterprise, we have a calculator where you can determine an estimate for an individual feed for the monthly cost of that feed. Simply use the sliders here. You can see, for example, with 2 sources in a feed and hourly updates, that individual feed will cost $16 per month, and that's US dollars. As you increase the update frequency, the cost will increase with it automatically within your plan. You can keep track of this information from your Enterprise dashboard. You'll see the individual costs listed, which will add up to a monthly total at the top. If you make changes to your feeds, such as adding new ones or deleting them or changing the update frequency, the cost, the grand total at the top, will change within about an hour or two. You can change the update frequency for individual feeds at any time. So if you have a customer who needs to run a fast update for a couple of days, perhaps they have a live event going on, you can simply change the update frequency to every minute or every 5 minutes, whatever they like. The cost will increase for that feed, and it will, within a few minutes, it'll start pulling in posts at a faster rate. And then that grand total will update up here a little while afterward. Now, Juicer is actually going to charge you the average of your usage at the end of the 30 days. So this way, if you switch it to a fast update frequency for a couple of days, and then after a while you change it back to a slower update frequency, Juicer will charge you fairly for that usage. It will keep track of this grand total cost frequently throughout the month, and then charge you an average of that usage. So keep an eye on this grand total at the top and on these below to know what to expect at the end of your 30 days for that monthly charge. Juicer cannot charge your individual clients. It can only be that one monthly grand total cost. Furthermore, in the upper right corner, if you click the main account button here, you'll have access to other areas. You can change your payment settings from here. You can change your own login email address, areas like that. You can delete feeds just simply by clicking the X button here, and that will remove it. And then the cost for that feed will be removed shortly after. Again, part of your monthly total. One area to clarify regarding users that you add to your enterprise plan. Earlier I mentioned that you can add users from your main dashboard just by clicking Add User on a feed. Just to clarify, if you have not set up Juicer's white labeling feature, which is this bottom panel on the left, again, we mentioned earlier, you can add your own domain here, and Juicer will work within that domain, and people will see your branding rather than Juicer's branding. If you have not set up this feature, then if you add a user to a feed by clicking Add User, then that user will have access to the social media sources panel here, which means they could theoretically change the cost of their feed per month by adjusting the number of sources there. They will also be able to change styling by clicking the feed settings panel. However, if you have set up Juicer's white labeling feature, then adding a user this way that user will not be able to access the social media sources panel. So if you are an agency and you do not want your clients to have that extra layer of control, you'll want to set up Juicer's white labeling feature. Thanks very much for watching. We'll add a few helpful links down in the description of this video, including an enterprise FAQ that goes into more detail. It also outlines the pricing in a little bit more detail so you can understand how that average works at the end of the month. There is a $1,000 US onboarding fee for the enterprise account. You can onboard to this plan at any time from juicer.io/enterprise or from juicer.io/plans if you have an existing account with us. Again, thanks very much for watching.